They've done some pretty cool experiments on babies to determine what kind of pre-wiring we have that allows us to understand math. They can tell that babies can add up simple numbers before they can differentiate between objects, meaning that before we humans are a year old, we have the pre-wired ability to add up simple numbers, but we still can't tell the difference between people and blocks of wood. One of the coolest things in mathematics is the Fibonacci sequence, an infinite sequence of numbers where each number is the sum of the previous two numbers. It's found in nature and music, and the ratio of any number divided by the previous number approaches a number called the golden ratio. For most people, your height divided by the span of your arms from fingertip to fingertip is the golden ratio. There are many wonderful paradoxes in math, but they aren't really paradoxes. This is because we are always looking in the wrong direction. This is a function of the observer and not what is being observed. There was once a mathematician who had a long history of successful grant-based studies. His name had been submitted to SETI for a new, very top-secret project. In empty space, there is a certain kind of noise signal. So when they try and separate out any signals that might be coming from intelligent life forms, they need to be able to separate it from this background noise. But this new project was to try and figure out a way to mathematically interpret signals that might be coming from dark matter or dark energy. It's called dark matter and dark energy because we know it's there. We can see some of the secondary influence it has, but so far they haven't been able to measure any of this directly. And since dark matter and dark energy make up 90% of the known universe, by only focusing on the 10% that we can measure, we may be missing out on a lot of intelligent life. So this mathematician was tasked to figure out mathematical formulas to perhaps interpret any signals that might be coming to us from any of the dark energy or dark matter universes. He essentially had the problem of having to come up with a whole new branch of imaginary mathematics, similar to how they came up with imaginary numbers. When they invented imaginary numbers, they had to make up numbers that didn't exist in order to solve some real problems. Once he got the grant, there would be very little oversight, and he would essentially have unlimited funding and equipment. The results of this imaginary mathematics he created was very disturbing. He did penetrate the dark matter, dark energy universe. But the problem was he was operating under the SETI model, that we are here on Earth and we are looking way out there for more life. But the dark energy and dark matter universe occupies the same space that we are using. And once he created various portals, they weren't way out there. They were right here. Another mistake he made was not worrying about ethical considerations. SETI had always been operating under the speed of light constraint, that any communication from any intelligent life forms would necessarily come from very, very far away, which means they never really had to worry or even think too much about whether any intelligent life would be good or evil or adversarial. So not only did this mathematician open up plenty of portals within our same space, but these portals are open to plenty of other intelligent beings who see us as much lower life forms that are perfectly acceptable to do experiments on, just like we do experiments on laboratory mice. This event happened shortly after World War II. When we tend to think of alien abductions, we tend to think of physical spacecraft and being taken physically on board their crafts. But in reality, these portals are all around us. They can open up anywhere, anytime, and abduct anybody they please, and perform horrific and painful experiments for as long as they like. It's believed that if there are any missing persons without any evidence, of which there are tens of thousands per year, these trans-dimensional abductions are likely responsible. The reason math paradoxes are not really paradoxes is that our brains are simply not calibrated to understand such things. Another reason why these entities may be all around us right now, studying us, we can't see or hear them because our senses aren't calibrated to notice things from this dark energy, dark matter universe. A very powerful way people have learned to use Fibonacci numbers is to make tons of money in the stock markets. Of course, there are two kinds of Fibonacci-based trading software. The kind that are commercially available, the kind that isn't much better than simply guessing, and then the kind that is only custom built for large banks. These are essentially money-making machines. You turn them on, and they'll slowly keep adding money to your bank account. They have a screen, and they first put one person behind the screen. Then they put another person behind the screen. If they lift up the screen and there are two people, the baby acts like it's normal. They can tell this by the baby's facial expression and how long they need to look at it to process it. When they put two people behind the screen, lift it up, and there are three people, the baby stares at this for much longer as if this doesn't make any sense and appears frustrated. But the funny thing is that the baby accepts two people as an acceptable answer, and it also accepts two wooden blocks as an acceptable answer, which means wherever we come from, before we become human, there are no physical objects, only the world of pure mathematics. Which means if you can learn to speak and think fluently in mathematics, you'll understand the truth about everything, which is why they make math so difficult, because they don't want you to understand the truth.